Welcome to Connecting Cultures with Weirong, where we create connections by conversations from inspiring Generation Z cross-cultural individuals, and on the other hand, experienced cross-cultural professionals. Upcoming, we have an inspirational, a driven, and a visionary individual. She is the founder and CEO of DWorld, the first virtual economy for cities globally. She's also a Forbes 30 under 30 honoree. With her cultural background, she was born in Genoa, Italy. Her father is Italian and her mother is Filipino. And during her childhood, she frequently went back to Philippines, exposing her to a variety of different cultures at a young age. Besides that, she also has work experience in China as well as Singapore. I am so excited for an inspiring conversation to delve into her cultural background, but as well as how she sees to change the future. Let us all welcome Manila Di Giovanni. Welcome, Manila. It's a pleasure to have you.
Hi, Weirong. Thank you very much for having me today.
I want to start off with the snack that you chose. I have with me now the sour cream onion Pringles. What is so special about this snack, and how has it been? Why did you choose this snack?
Well, first of all, when I was a child, until I was 6, they weren't available in Italy, in my city. I have it here as well. But they were available just in the Philippines. So this has always been one of my favorite childhood snacks because it was something unavailable in the country where I was born and raised, and I couldn't find just in my mom's country. And I really loved the flavor, the crispiness, and although it's the onion flavor, which is not very good for your mouth, for the bread, but it's really tasty.
I absolutely agree with you. It's not good for other people, but it's good for you. You can feel it.
Exactly.
I want to dive into your background, because we mentioned regarding your growing up experience in the Philippines, and also with your father being Italian, and now you're based in Monte Carlo in Monaco. I want to ask, how do you view your own identity and belonging? Specifically, what do you say when people ask you, Manila, where are you from?
Well, I love specifying that I am Italian, because Italians are very well known for their creativity. So that one is applause every time I present myself. But internally, regarding how I identify myself, it's actually very hard for me to explain that, because I don't identify myself as a pure Italian, I feel more Asian than European inside myself, and so it's really a mixture. Sometimes, when I'm in Europe, when I'm in Italy, I identify myself with the Italian culture, and I appreciate a lot the Italian food. But when it comes to work, things that I like in general, like the flavors. I love soya. The Italians don't like soya. They don't like spicy things. I love this instead. And also, in terms of how I see the future, I love things that are more modern. I love to understand what's next. And Italians normally are quite traditional. They're very creative, but they love their houses. They love the traditions. In terms of traditions, of course, like in Asia, we have also a lot of traditional families. But in terms of societal change, I think that Filipinos and Asians in general are much faster at adapting to change compared to Italians. And me, I'm that type of person that loves to adapt to changes frequently on a weekly basis, because our world is constantly moving forward, and this is what I identify myself with. in terms of the way of living, let's say. And so I don't always say I am Italian immediately. I always say I'm Italian, but I'm also Filipino, to make them understand that I have this open-mindedness.
And I understand that your family also played a big role in your sense of understanding and accepting cultures, because you guys love traveling around, from what I understand. Can you touch a bit upon how your family and your upbringing influenced your perception of cultural diversity, of cultural experiences?
Yeah, well, let's start by mentioning that my first trip to the Philippines was when I was barely 1 year old. So I've been exposed to my mom's culture from the very beginning. My first language was not Italian, it was English. Unfortunately, I didn't learn Tagalog because of different reasons. And one of the main ones is because since English was my first language, in kindergarten, I was not speaking Italian with the other kids. I was speaking in English, and they were thinking that I was an alien because the Italian kids were not used to have someone that is half Italian, half Filipino that is not interacting directly in Italian. So I decided to put a sort of barrier in the way that I was speaking, and I was begging my mom to stop speaking to me in English and to just speak to me in Italian, which was the one of my terrible choices, because I had to. I was always good in English because in any case at home, my mom was still speaking in English with me, not in front of my friends where I was shy with, but with me personally, she was always speaking English. So compared to the normal Italians, my level of English was always fluent and at a high level. But I decided not to speak Tagalog, which was like the bad choice, because then when I was going back to the Philippines, I could understand what they were telling me, but I couldn't fully interact with my cousins or the friends of my family and the others. And in terms of cultural background, well, I was, as I mentioned, always open-minded to the different cultures, because I didn't have any stereotypes like the other Italian kids, that every time they see a Chinese person and a Filipino person, a colored person in general, like that is not completely white, they're always a bit more racist.
Unfortunately, I think individuals like us who are in the mix in between so many cultures, it's quite often that we get some preconceptions and stereotypical comments about us. But I want to kind of move on to, again, go back to your cross-cultural experiences, and specifically having your experiences from China to Singapore and now to Monaco. Why the Principality of Monaco? How did that come about? Why?
Yeah, so it was a series of coincidences, because my first cross-cultural experience where I was completely alone was not in Monaco. It was in Barcelona. I was 13 years old when I was targeting to become a tennis player, because back then I wanted to become a professional tennis player. It was the first time that I spent 4 months alone within a really diversified cultural hub of people coming from all over the world, and I really loved being in such environments with the different nationalities. I never wanted to stay just with people that were just Italians. Actually, I feel ashamed when I'm abroad and exploring new countries and I see Italians, because I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm trying to meet people from other countries and not my same nationality.
Wait, I touch upon it.
I decided to go to Monaco because, as I mentioned, there were a series of coincidences. I wanted to go to study to Milan, Bocconi University, and to follow the course in English for computer science, economics, and management. But then, when I was at the careers day, the University Open Day, I saw with my dad that there were also some other interesting universities, and among them there was the University of Monaco. And in Italian, Monaco means Munich. So when my dad was actually a bit insisting and saying, why don't you think about going to Monaco? And I replied, I don't want to go to cold, rainy Munich. So he was like, what are you saying, Manila? You've already been to Monaco. And I was like, no, I've never been to Munich. And he said, yes, you've been many times for the tennis tournament, because there's the Rolex Monte Carlo Masters. And since I was 12, I was going quite frequently to watch the tournament with my tennis mates and some friends of my dad that were accompanying me. And then it came to my mind, oh, Monte Carlo, not Monaco. So most of the people know about the Principality of Monaco, not because of Monaco, but because of Monte Carlo, which is the most famous district here in Monaco. And I decided to go to visit the university in person. And I was also recommended by many people, in particular one that was working for Amazon, that big companies don't look at where you're studying. They look at your international background and experiences. So, like in my mind, I always wanted to be in a cross-cultural hub, and in addition, I wanted to start also my own startup one day, or in the field of technology. But I didn't know that I would have started something like DWorld. And in Monaco, like there are many opportunities, many doors that can open up when you come here. It's what I thought from the very beginning. And the second part that defined my choice to come to Monaco was the fact that I always wanted to do my semester abroad in China. So since they take 1-2 students per semester to go abroad to China, both at Bocconi and at the International University of Monaco, I thought, which probability is higher for me to be accepted and to go to China to do my semester abroad? And I checked also a bit the level of the students in Monaco, and I said, okay, definitely Monaco. So I decided to subscribe, to register, and to do the admission process to go to the University of Monaco. I was accepted, and I came here since 2018.
There's going to be 5 questions, and you're going to answer in 5 seconds. 5 seconds for each question. The first question: if you could teleport to any city in the world, where would it be?
Singapore.
One valuable lesson that you learned training as a professional tennis athlete.
Determination.
One unique aspect of Filipino culture you'd like to share with everyone.
Eating a lot of chicken adobo.
I need to try that out. What's one cultural festival that you want to take part in?
Festival?
Tradition.
The lantern in China. You know, when they throw the lanterns? I always wanted to do that. I never had the opportunity. Come
to China.
Yeah.
One word describing your vision for the future.
I cannot, it's too long, but creating the future for as a whole, because we're defining the future of countries and cities. So it's really creating the future together.
So you touched a bit about founding your company, and now your company, DWorld, in the Principality of Monaco. And DWorld focuses really on bridging the real world with the virtual world. How did your passion for anime and for sci-fi novels like Snow Crash inspire your concept and your vision of DWorld, your company?
Yeah, it was mainly the Japanese culture that inspired me, because my mom was always, this is part of my background. Like, my dad is used to the European American cartoons. My mom is used to the Asian anime. And she introduced me to anime since I was 3 years old, basically. That I was watching Pokemon and the others. Then when I was 11, I watched Sword Art Online, which is the anime that inspired myself to jump in virtual reality, immersive worlds, and to create the metaverse of real-world cities. So at the end, what struck me about this anime was the fact that there was a dystopian future, and it was based on a fantasy-based worlds and not on real-world scenarios. And me, I wanted to bring an added value to our society, to our world, rather than creating something dystopic like what we can see nowadays with other platforms. So that's why I decided to focus more on helping smart cities or like normal cities to become the next level of smart cities by defining their future through the metaverse and creating a whole virtual economy ecosystem. So creating a virtual twin of real-world countries and cities, like starting from the Principality of Monaco. This is what we've done already for the Principality. We created its virtual twin. We started integrating the various local and international enterprises within this virtual twin that can transact. And our goal is also to put the public services within it to create a full ecosystem that can also involve the residents and the citizens to take part to the decision-making process to define the future of the country, and connecting people from all over the world in this platform without having physical barriers anymore. Because one issue is accessibility. So, like any country, of course, there are different issues. It can be from a traveling perspective, but also from an economic and financial perspective. So, coming to Monaco, let's say that it's not really cheap because eating, staying at the hotel, everything is very, very, very expensive. But even if you're someone living, I don't know, in the Philippines, as long as you have a laptop or even a VR headset nowadays, you can travel to Monaco. You can meet people in Monaco, arrange meetings, interact with the local enterprises. You can it's a parallel virtual world that is replicating, yes, the real world scenarios, but enhancing them as well.
You touched a couple of times on not only accessibility, but as well as how that creates connection among individuals. And I'm confident that it's as much important to create connections in the digital world as it is in the real world. How do you think your cross-cultural international background has made you focus and made you want to create this connection and this community in the virtual space?
There are several things that have affected my vision in terms of connecting people internationally. So the first one was, of course, the fact that I have part of my family in the Philippines. So I was always thinking, how do I communicate with my cousin and my uncles, my aunts over there? As back then, we just had, we had, yes, a Facebook Messenger. That's what we were using, or I forgot the name. It was something like a Pal Talk or something like that my mom was using, like it was another application. And then she started using Viber, but it's still, like a 2D connection. We are not really seeing each other, feeling that we are physically present there in the same moment at the same time. And then I saw my sister playing a lot of games with people from all over the world, even from Morocco, on Roblox. Already in 2014-15 she was playing, and I was like, but Athena, why are you playing so often? What makes you come back repeatedly to these games? At the end, they are a bit really very childish games. You are a Lego cube and you're moving around, and there's nothing really interesting. And she said, yes, but all of my friends are here. So there's a strong social aspect about being part of of virtual environments that are 3D oriented. Although you don't have an aesthetically pleasant avatar that really resembles yourself with a high definition. You're just a Lego cube. But you have your identity that is transferred into a virtual identity. It became your avatar, and you feel like you're inside that virtual environment with friends from all over the world within it. And it happened that she actually managed to meet even in person these people that she was playing with. So it's not something that limits human interactions and connections, but it actually creates a bridge between like our real world persona and our virtual persona. And when we're inside the virtual world, we are not scared anymore about our skin color, what language we speak, different factors that can limit our interactions within it. We can actually be very open. We can be ourselves 100%, and no one can judge us. Even if they do, what do you do? You just block them, and they cannot contact you again. So instead, when we are in a real world environment, you cannot just block the person like this. They can still talk to you. You can still see them in class. They can still judge you. And this is the power of virtual worlds. And this is what I really appreciated. And this is what another motivation that made me start DWorld after seeing how my sister was interacting in this virtual environment.
5 minutes that you get to share any type of skill or talent that you'd like the audience to know.
Okay. In general, like
anything. Any talent. It could be singing, whistling, dancing, whatever you want.
My personal talent.
You have many.
It's actually uniting people. Because one thing that I am good at is identifying the skills that each person has, although they lack of self-esteem. So I know how to identify what they're good at and connecting them to create a product together.
And I can really feel that with the conversations that we had, that you're able to really pick out connections with your creativity. So I understand that. You touched upon a very interesting point, which is the intersection of technology and the possibility of technology providing cultural diversity and accessibility to everyone. Can you go more into how you see the intersection of technology and cultural diversity?
Well, in which field? Always like in my industry, or like in
your industry?
In general?
In the virtual world, in the metaverse. Perhaps what you have envisioned for DWorld, how that's going to bring in more international people and also give them a space to express themselves that you can't do sometimes in the real world.
So our goal is not to limit ourselves just to the Principality of Monaco, but to really expand DWorld towards building a real interconnected metaverse of real countries and cities globally. So the moment that we interconnect Monaco with other countries like Italy, Malta, the Philippines, whatever country in the world, the US, like you're creating a whole virtual community of people that don't see anymore this, like these borders, the physical ones. It's it's a melting pot that is interconnecting the countries, but without making you seem that you passed, that you crossed these borders. You're still interacting with the people globally that are inside Monaco. Like an American can be in Monaco, can be going on a shopping spree, visiting a museum, you're meeting him or her in the virtual platform. You can socialize with them and create a new, potentially genuine friendship without even knowing that that person crossed from the US to Monaco. So this is the nice thing of virtual worlds, that exactly there are no more physical boundaries, and we can be together in one single ecosystem and in one single community that is touching the whole world.
speaking about social connection, and also you mentioned speaking to people all over the world is now available. For example, your team is impressively diverse, and not only in geography, but as well as diverse in age, diverse in experience, expertise. How do you think your background growing up among diversity has fostered that connection to find common points and bring them together and build a thriving team?
So for the team, one thing is essential: a shared vision, independently of your skin color, your cultural background, your nationality. If people believe in what you're doing, independently of where they are from, they will be part of your vision, of your project, and they will want to work with you. So I've never limited myself to working with people just from Monaco, just from Italy. Actually, it was quite the opposite. For me, despite the limits that we have in the real world in terms of physical interactions, I decided myself that we're doing we're bringing a change to the world. We're creating a metaverse company that is creating virtual economies. So it makes sense that we ourselves work remotely and that we are an international diversified team. And because having an international diversified team actually brings an added value to the company per se. You have people that can provide new insights, new ideas. New context as well, because then you don't have just the limitation of having people based in Italy or in Monaco that just provide you the same contact that everyone knows at the end of the day. But it's really bringing diversification in all senses at a 360 degree. And that's why I think that the common denominator among all of us, despite the fact that the oldest one in my company is 62 years old, the youngest ones are me and our digital marketing manager that we're 22. So independently of the age, the gender, and the nationality, the common denominator is the vision. Everyone believes in your ideal, in the future that you wanted to build through your startup, and then it's up to you as the founder to understand that you shouldn't limit yourself just to being local, but to really go global, which doesn't mean just in terms of scalability. It means also in terms of team formation.
Yeah. As a young, successful entrepreneur, you are quite grounded as well in your core values, such as maintaining to stay human, maintaining your inner childness, continuing with your determination, but as well as working hard. How do you see yourself maintaining that as your company, as your vision, as your team grows?
So that's a very hard question as well, because you can sometimes you feel like having these values, it's actually detrimental rather than constructive, because many people try to destroy you just because of that. But no, it's important to keep these values, especially while also being humble, being determined, and maintaining your inner childhood, because being a child means that you're always curious to know what you're doing, being open to new ideas that are being provided, not just by your team, but also people that you meet. Because even if I detach myself 1-2 days and I go on holiday and I meet some people and I talk to them about what I'm doing, they can always exchange ideas, discuss with you, and you can always integrate that feedback that you have in your vision. So being curious and adaptive is very important, and hardworking, because to build a company you need to have one important thing, that is consistency. You cannot wake up one day and say, oh, today I feel very inspired, I will do this and that.
Please say that again. Oh my gosh, consistency is so important. Thank you.
And then the day after you wake up and you say, oh, but today I don't feel like I wanted to work because I didn't have the deal that I expected. You are a bit depressed because of some external factors, maybe not even linked to work, but maybe relationships, maybe family, I don't know, like many different reasons. And, you need to keep being mentally strong to put a barrier to this, to these potential problems that can affect your working routine, and keep focusing on a daily basis on what is that you want to achieve in the long term, and how you want to add an added value to this world.
I want to give you space to share a bit about announcements from your end, from DWorld, from what we can wait upcoming, and as well how others can follow your journey.
Well, for announcements, we wanted to share the fact that, Monaco has been made available, so people can just go download the platform and join the Monaco Metaverse from any side of the world already. And we are negotiating now with more countries and cities, including Malta, to expand our ecosystem, and therefore, we would like people to keep following our progresses, so that they can stay up to date to the new districts, new companies, new institutions, new governments that are taking part to the project, and to be part of the community of worlders, because being a worlder means being a change maker, and to really be able to define together with us the future of our countries and cities globally.
Thank you so much, Manila. Thank you so much, Manila. It was truly inspirational speaking with you. I heard so much about creating connection, creating limitless opportunities through integrating our real world with the virtual world, which, as you also say, is a reality now. Thank you for everyone who is watching this episode today. If you have any comments, questions to this episode to Manila, please write it down below. And please pop in your questions and comments regarding what you want to see upcoming. And follow us on our social medias so you can be tuned. This is Weirong Lee, and this is Connecting Cultures with Weirong Lee. Thank you so much. Catch you next time.